Blog Talk Radio.
Consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
Victory Warriors!
You talking to me? You talking to me? You talking to me? Then who the hell else are you talking? You talking to me? Well, I'm the only one here.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, I bought glasses there. My name is Saul Rosenberg.
Yes?
And my eyes are going crazy.
Okay, let me pull your record card. Hold on, please.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have a record card on you. Where did you buy your glasses? Sure it was here?
Yes, I did. And do you wear glasses?
No, where did you buy them?
At your place there.
What address did you go to?
It's the one right in the city there. I don't quite remember.
Well, there's a lot in the city, and sometimes people get confused. I don't have a record card on you. How long ago did you buy it here?
About 4 days, and my eyes is going crazy.
And Mr. Rosenberg, I don't believe you bought it at this office because I'm the only one here. I don't wear glasses, and if it was 4 days ago, I would have remembered you, and I don't have a record card on you. Did you go to the Empire State Building?
I went to the Empire State Building, and I can't see so good.
You went to see Dr. Kim?
Yeah, but he's an asshole. I couldn't see so good from the Empire State Building.
Well, would you like to make an appointment to come in and see us?
I went to the observatory because of these glasses. I can't see, goddammit.
Okay, would you like to come in and see us?
Sure.
Okay. We're at 30 East 60th Street.
35 78th Street. Okay.
No. We're at 30.
Okay.
East 60th Street.
All right. Should I bring all my glasses with me?
You need an examination.
And all my glasses?
Mr. Rosenberg, do you need an examination?
Okay.
Do you need an examination?
All right.
Yeah? All right. You need an appointment.
Right. And I'll bring all my shoes and my glasses with me. So I have them.
I do not, for one, think that the problem was that the band was down. I think that the problem may have been that there was a Stonehenge monument on the stage that was in danger of being crushed by a dwarf. All right? That tended to understate the hugeness of the object.
Who dumped a whole truckload of fizzies into the swim meet? Who delivered the medical school cadavers to the alumni dinner? Every Halloween, the trees are filled with underwear. Every spring, the toilets explode.
You're talking about Delta, sir.
hey, enough of my yakking. What do you say? Let's boogie.
That's right, Marty the Bergie. Let's boogie. Welcome, everybody. We're back on another Thursday evening chat where we talk our hard rock and sports live in Monroe, New Jersey, from the sweatshop in Monroe. I hope everybody's having a great week. It's been beautiful weather. We're experiencing summer already, and I'm having a good day. I got to give you some information up front, guys. I got home very late. So if you notice during my show, usually my mix is a little bit better. I was cutting a couple things off because I was kind of getting a little ahead. So I had to cut off the song Destiny Don't Let Go by Lady Cadaver, which ties into our theme of the night, which we are celebrating the local bands. And even our big guest, as I like to call him, Mark Tornillo, formerly of TT Quick, a Jersey guy, to go along with Tony Gunn, currently lead guitar player from Light Up the Sky, and Vinny Raschella, drummer from Kill Van Kull, will also be joining us tonight. So I started my night off with a little Destiny Don't Let Go by Lady Cadaver from back in the 80s, and we'll talk to Tony, and I'll tell him a couple of maybe remembrances of my days from watching him at the old St. John's Episcopal Church fairs and all that good stuff. So we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of stuff on the music scene tonight because we're going to be talking to three, veterans of the Staten Island and local music scene, and of course we know Mark Tornillo's to accept. So we're going to sneak in a little sports early. There was a big weekend last weekend. We had the Kentucky Derby. We had Rangers Caps, Yankees Red Sox, the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, which I didn't watch, had no interest in watching, but I'm hoping somebody will call in because I've heard mostly bad and a couple of actual people who I think are fight fans say that the fight was good. For what I've read, the little I've seen, I can't imagine it. But we got a big show on tap. I know, Joe, you're on hold. I'm going to pick you up in half a second. You got to let me work my way into you. I'm coming to you in a second, Joe. I see you. I love him to death. He's like my wife. He's a little impatient. But anyway, now having said that, I'm going to bring on my somewhat hurting partner in crime, my producer extraordinaire, the man who is the wizard behind the curtain, the one, the only, the lovely Joe Gansas. Joe.
What's up, Tommy? How you feeling?
I'm okay, Joe. A little tired, but how you doing today? I know you're under the weather a little bit.
Yeah, a little gout today. I had the gout for about 15 years today. 15 years now. A little gout today in my foot, but it's getting better, Just got to deal with it, but everything's good.
What's on the horizon, Joe? Give the fans a little something to nibble on for the future.
Oh, we got a great night tonight. We got you mentioned the guest tonight. Next week we have a cancellation with Gloria Cordes-Elliott, the pitcher from the old American Baseball League, the Women's League, but she'll be back maybe in June or July. She said she's a little sick right now, and I hope to have a guest next week. I just talked today with an old friend of mine. We had a falling out, but we're talking again. Olivia DeVito from Billy Joe and Ricky Bird from Joe and Jet I talked to today. So I'm hoping to nail one of these guests maybe for next week or in June. Then we have on the 21st, we have Joe Andruzzi, and the 28th, we have Bruce Kulick from KISS and a local wrestler named Fabio, the Sicilian Tyler Caruso. So we got a big month coming up, and I got a lot of things coming. Ricky Rocket's getting close. Zach Wilde getting close. I'm just trying to close the door, on these people.
Beautiful, Joe. So it's a busy time. Looks like I'm not getting a week off anytime soon. So no problem. That's what we do around here. We work our asses off, and we try to give the fans what they want. We give them big guys. You can't complain. Ricky Rocket, Zach Wilde. We got them. We Olivia DeVito. We got them all coming out of the woodwork now.
Yeah, Ricky Bird was just inducted to the Hall of Fame, so I think he might be coming on soon from the Joe and Jet fame. So it's good. I'm just always talking to me like you. We're both always busy, but it's worth it. I love doing this, and I think a lot's on the store, in the future for the Horizon. And our big show, August 29th, we'll keep talking about that and plugging that and mentioning stuff.
Yep, we got a lot of stuff. We got some stuff coming out, shirt designs and logos, and we have a lot of stuff for giveaways and raffles, and we're getting people involved. So we got a couple people donating things to be auctioned off. So it's starting to gain a little momentum. We're not bombarding people with it now, but probably sometime in June we're gonna start bombarding people, right, Joe?
Absolutely. I mean, once it gets closer, we're really promoting. We got your brother helping out, working on the flyer. So it's all going to come, pretty soon. Kind of one thing about the fight last week, I watched it the day after. I'm not going to comment on the fight. I thought the fight was. I can't see Pacquiao ever beating this guy. There's no power to his punches. I just couldn't see him ever beating the guy. If he was hurt or not. But as far as Mayweather, I love to see Mayweather fight like a Tommy Hearns or a Leonard or even a Duran, or have a Marvin Hagler. And your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm not a big boxing fan, but what I've watched, the guy seems to be nothing more than a defensive fighter. Which again, it's an art to be a defensive fighter. I think when the guy is pressed and hit, I think his whole formula goes away. And if he can't tie you up, if he can't keep you off the ropes, I don't think he's the fighter that everybody thinks he is. I just think he hasn't been challenged enough. And more than that, I can't really comment. I don't watch it. What I did see, I was not impressed with it. To me, the build up to the fight did not fulfill what actually happened. I think the fans were robbed. I think for the amount of money that was spent, I think it was bizarre to say the least. Yeah,
definitely. But one more thing, I also spoke to George Lynch today. So I'm trying to close in with him too. He's close also, George Lynch. So we got a lot of guys, always plugging away, and
wow,
that's what happened. Yeah.
Joe, listen, nobody ever can say that you let the grass grow under your feet, and I think it's great. Thanks, thanks for everything. I appreciate it.
All right, bro. Listen, have a good show, and I'll talk to you soon, bro.
I'll talk to you after, Joe. Thanks, brother. If anything comes up, if you got a minute, give a call during any part of the show. I would love you to call back. So if you got a minute.
You got it. All right.
All right, pal. All right, that was producer extraordinaire Joseph Gonzalez. So again, we're plugging along. The call-in number is 347-826-9934, like my boy Giuseppe sings about in the opening. And again, I want to give some thanks to first off Jim Galicchio, who does the official theme to the show, which I play every opening. Jim did that whole thing himself, and I really appreciated that. I'll always open the show. One thing you'll know about me, folks, I appreciate the people in my life who've given me support. Starting with my parents, my wife, my family, my friends, the people who call in every week. Right down to the guys like Jimmy and Jeff, my friend Jeff, who's played on the theme, and my brother who's helped, and get my stepson Gary, Anthony Gonzalez. I'm very happy when everybody gets involved. I like to have everybody involved, and hopefully as the show grows, and hopefully we'll continue to grow, I'll have even more and more people involved and more people to thank. So again, thanks to everybody who's contributed so far. You heard the intro with Jimmy. You heard the montage of sports clips that my brother did for me, Rich Flora Productions. And then you hear the intro theme that was done in Cobra Sun Studios, Staten Island, and performed by Joe Gansas, Giuseppe Dante, Anthony Gonzalez, and Jeff Talwin. So thanks to all those guys, and we're going to kick it in. Like I said, we got about 10 minutes before we got Mark Tonillo, formerly of TT Quicks. Ooh, sorry about that. And currently with the band Accept. And if you know me or if you've heard this show, you know that I think the three latest Accept albums are probably the best three Accept albums of all time. There was a pregnant pause there. I'm still going with the pregnant pause. Okay, here's why I say that. If you listen to the early stuff, lots of great stuff. Fast as a Shark, Falls to the Walls, all of that stuff. Great metal stuff. Loved it. The last three albums with Mark, and I'm not saying this because Mark's my guest. If anybody, Kevin Nolan I drove around with, Jimmy, a bunch of people on this show, I since I've heard Blood of the Nation, since I've heard Stalingrad and Blind Rage, all the last 3 Accept albums, I will tell you that they are the best. They are the 3 best songs that these are the best 3 Accept albums going. So, again, folks, I don't want to get too off track. I want to do a couple minutes of sports. So we had the Pacquiao fight, which I didn't watch. So if anybody's out there and want to call about it, by all means. Kentucky Derby, American Pharoah was the winner. Good race. It's a lot, I have to tell you. The one thing I'll tell you about the Kentucky Derby, 2.5 hours that I watched. I was at my cousin's house. We went up for a little barbecue. It was kind of a sports day. We were watching the end of the NFL draft. And by the way, I want to thank the guys last week who contributed to that. I got a lot of great reaction from that. People who thought the segment wasn't going to be as good as it was commented how much fun it sounded, and we all did have a lot of fun in that. And just for the record, Todd, my cousin Todd, was probably the closest of all in correctly predict. I think he was 6 out of 10. But it was a lot of fun anyway. So we watched the draft. We watched a little Yankees Red Sox, and the Yankees swept the Red Sox. Had a great weekend. But the Kentucky Derby was on for 2.5 or 3 hours before the race, and it seemed like so much production for a 2-minute race. And again, I understand the pageantry and the hats and all that stuff that goes with it, but I have to tell you that at some point it gets a little on the annoying side when you think about it. I mean, we stuck with the whole thing. I mean, we drift back and forth with a couple of things, but in the end, I found it to be extremely, extremely annoying. The race was, the favorite won, and that's the bottom line. I mean, there's not much more I could say. I mean, we'll look forward to the next year. To me, it gets interesting if the horse that wins the Kentucky Derby goes out and wins the Preakness. Now it's interesting because now you got a chance for somebody to go for the Triple Crown. That's when this becomes interesting. If another horse wins the Preakness, to me, it's almost just another horse race. It gets interesting when there's one going for the Triple Crown. So that's Kentucky Derby wise. That's all I got. If somebody wants to come in and talk about that, the Yankee play over the last couple of weeks has been extremely impressive for a lot of reasons. I think my main reason, for the Yankee, because everybody kind of forecast the doom and gloom. I thought that their bullpens played amazingly well. Let's see. Just looking up something, folks, while I'm talking. I apologize. Of late they've got some big hits. I mean, Ellsbury's killing it. Gardner's been great. Teixeira's hit a ton. A-Rod's been better than expected. Not hitting, 240s, but 4 or 5 homers. He's got 11 to 12 RBIs. Playing well enough. Could see better from Beltran, obviously. Drew hasn't hit. Shortstop hasn't hit. A little bit out of McCann. The starting pitching's been okay, but it's starting to take a little bit of beating now. Sabathia's 0-5. Tanaka's out for at least a month, and I think it's time to start thinking about the surgery. What else? Pineda's been better than advertised. I thought Warren pitched a good game the other night, got screwed up by the bullpen. They really haven't had terrible starts yet from their starters, and their pen has only had really one bad game. So, do I think the wheels come up at some point? I have to think so. I don't think the pitching will hold up for the long term, and I don't think the bats are enough there. And Ellsbury and Gardner have both shown the occasion to break down as the season goes on. So I think it's nice right now. I think they come back to the pack, and I think at best they're fighting for a wild card spot. So, but it was a great series to watch the Yankees, Red Sox. I kind of. I don't want to get to the whole throwing at people thing. I thought it was ridiculous that Ramirez thought that the Yankees were throwing him at that point in the game. And then the Red Sox pitcher comes back in the next inning and hits Ellsbury, obviously on purpose. Everybody gets the warning, bench is emptying, talking, But to me, it woke up the series. It woke up the rivalry a little bit. The rivalry's been a little dead the last few years. it was great watching them last year celebrate Jeter, but I kind of wanted them to say F them, because that's Red Sox Yankees, you know. So, but anyway, it was a great weekend for Yankee baseball. They come off the sweep of the Rays. They come off the sweep of them. Little bit of a stumble this week in Toronto, but again, it's going to happen. The Mets, on the other hand, I don't know where to go with the Mets at this point. I think exactly what everybody thought before the season: suspect hitting, completely suspect defense, going along with great pitching, and really the great pitches come from two people, Colon and Harvey. So if you're a believer that Colon's going to hold up for the season, which, again, 41 years old, not in the greatest shape in the whole world, looks like he could be sitting there doing his radio show, I would say, you know, but Harvey's the real deal. I think DeGrom gets his feet under, but I still think DeGrom is a little bit better than a 500 pitcher. I think you're looking at a 15-11 by the season's over. Great stuff, but I think the league's catching up to him a little bit, so we'll see. But they're very suspect hitting. You're hurt without the two bats, but you know what? If you're counting on Wright coming back and having a big season after not having big seasons for the last 3 or 4 years, I think it's a lot to ask, to be honest with you. I think it's a lot to ask. Hold on. My brother's giving me shit because yes, Rich, I see your call. Yeah, hold on, I'm answering. You know, people think that every time that phone call pops up, I got to jump. I'm in the middle of something. I call back my brother. I love you to death. I'll pick you right up. It must be interesting. So anyway, so I think the Mets are kind of coming back. They're still ahead in their division. Both teams are, 18-10, 17-11. As I look at it, Mets 18-10, Yankees 17-11. So I think we're looking at right now is good baseball through the summer. I'm hoping for both New York teams. Both teams are in very, very, very weak divisions. I don't see anybody emerging. You've seen a little bit of a spark from the Nationals. So I think now Giuseppe. Hold on, folks. Anyway, so Rangers Caps. Let me get out the Rangers Cap before my guest comes on. It's been an interesting series, Rangers Caps, and I'll tell you why. I think with the President's Trophy, everybody had the expectation that the Rangers were going to walk through this whole thing. And the one thing I've learned about the Rangers over the years is when they're supposed to win, they usually don't. And I think they struggled in the first series, but they were so far superior to Pittsburgh that it really didn't show. What was glossed over was all the games of 2-1 wins. And again, Lundqvist is playing his ass off. And hold on, folks. Let me grab what's up, my brother?
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Just talking sports. What's going on, pal?
Great. Yeah, this time I don't usually talk sports with you, but I'll talk sports with you this time because I did watch the Pacquiao fight.
Okay, go ahead. Give me your take on it.
And what you didn't watch it at all? You haven't heard or you haven't seen anything?
Well, here's it. I caught the highlights.
Yeah.
I watched bits. Somebody sent me a link to the fight. I got to watch a little bit of the early parts of the rounds. I read everything about it, and I've talked to 100 people informally. Most hated the fight. Most thought it was a terrible fight. I can't give an opinion. I didn't see enough.
I mean, I think I dropped out of boxing around the mid-'90s, and I used to like watching Tyson fights and the middleweight guys. But I think, as soon as all this hype started, and I was with my friends and we were watching it, and even before the fight came on, I said, this is going to be them dancing around the ring, right? And this is just going to be that because that's the way it is. It seems to be like, there's all build up and no show. It seems to be that way all the time with these kind of things. I mean, there are many fights where you don't expect it to be great, and they are. But you knew that this guy, he's only in it for the money.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
And
well, I mean,
so
I don't watch boxing like you do. I gave up on boxing also. So I mean, and for the very reason it's turned into a let's promote a big fight and then stand in the ring and pretend we're on Dancing with the Stars.
Well, I mean, you know, like if you go back and watch, you know, other fights, Hagler fight with what was the big Hagler fight? I forget. You know,
Hagler, Hearns, Hagler,
yeah,
Leonard.
So if you go back and watch that fight, I mean, they come out of the box just duking it out. I mean, they're there to fight. They're there to to do it. They put on a show, but they're not there to win the fight only. They're there. They gotta entertain people. So this is what happened to this fight, and I'll be brief. Basically, he booked this fight, and he had a plan. He's going to dance around, and he wasn't going to get backed up into the corner. He wasn't going to get up on the ropes because he knew that that Manny was going to tear him up if he got him on the ropes. And so he just danced around. He kept him at arm's length, kept with the jab, kept getting the points, and that's the way he went through the whole fight. He didn't want to mix it up with him. He didn't want to put on a show. He did not want to box. He just wanted to win. And I guess that's fine, but that didn't help me, enjoy the fight at all.
No, and you know what the problem is, Rich? Here's the rub on anything when you have to spend your money. It's like, for if you're a Yankee fan, a Met fan, a Giant fan, Jet fan, if you're a boxing fan, if you disagree with the way things are done, don't go. If a band puts out a record and you don't like the direction of the band, don't buy it. The only way people get the point across is don't buy the pay-per-view. So if nobody bought the pay-per-view, they either don't put the fight on, or maybe they get to realize they have to put on a fight that people are going to watch. So I don't know if at this point, it matters. Myself, I would never pay for another pay-per-view boxing match for a lot of reasons, and this one was probably the biggest reason for me. You gave me what people would call the best fight option out there, and it was a total dud. So,
but the thing is that you want that experience. You want Ali, Frazier. You want these titans that get into the ring and they're the best of the best. You want them to mix it up, and then hey, he was just running around. Hey, you see how much I got paid? You see how much I got paid? It's like, okay, well you didn't put on any kind of a fight. Well, that's the problem. Again, I go to a baseball game and spend $200 or $300, and the game's not a great game. You go, it's $200, $300. But I spent $100 for a pay-per-view fight, and the next morning I'm looking at Floyd Mayweather hold open a bag of $180 million. Theoretically, obviously. Well, that's what I'm saying. He doesn't care. I mean, no. It would only help the sport of boxing and his reputation. At least Tyson, you knew. I mean, even though he was, crazy and delusional, he was going in the ring and he was going to give you a show, whether it was a 3-second show or a 9-round show. It was going to be a show. And
well, you knew it was a show because he hated everybody. He hated everybody he fought. It didn't matter who they were.
But that's what made it great.
Right. Absolutely. These guys don't even talk a great game.
Boxing, and you can ask, Daddy's a big fight fan, and he could tell you. I mean, those guys in the old days, they went in the ring and they had the eye of the tiger, man. They went in there and they wanted to prove that they were the baddest, not the richest.
Dude, I agree with you, and that's the problem. It's not. And again, I'm all for you. You can make $1 billion doing what you do. I'm all for it, but give the people something for their money. Everybody's $100 important. So.
I'm happy that he won, but I want to be entertained, and that wasn't entertaining. Okay, have a great show.
All right,
man.
All right, pal.
Thanks for talking, bro. Okay, man.
You got it, brother.
Peace
out. All right, so that was my brother checking in from California, Big Rich Florio, formerly of Sister Whiskey fame, fortune. Fame, maybe not fortune, but I think my next guest is on the line. If I got it right, so I'm going to take a quick break, play a quick tune, and I'm going to come back, and on the other side, I'm going to have Mark Tornillo, except lead singer, local Jersey guy, made great. So guys, hang in a minute. We'll be back on the other side of one of my favorite songs. folks, I didn't mean to cut that off short, but I got my guest holding a long time, and because my brother jumped in late with his fight preview, I run a little late, and I don't want to keep him holding. So, without further ado, let's bring on Mark Tanilla. Mark, you out there, sir?
I'm here, man.
How are you, sir? Thank you for coming on.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, man. What's going on?
Well, we're just doing another Thursday show where we talk a little hard rock, we talk a little sports, we talk a little bit of everything, and we're happy to have a guy of your fame and fortune here.
Oh, well, I don't know about fortune. I don't even know about fame, but happy to be on anyway.
Well, Mark, here's what I will say, and I want to go backwards a little bit, but I got to start off with saying this, and I say this with all honesty, and if you've ever, obviously you've never heard the show before, but anybody who has will tell you that I've said, without a doubt, the last 3 albums from Accept have been the best albums from Accept, and probably the 3 best albums in the metal world, bar none.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why real quick before you give me how it happened. You guys stay true to what Accept is. You stay true to who you are. And you made metal music without finding new direction, where even some of the bands I truly love have kind of ventured off to find some new sound instead of staying with what makes metal metal, and I love all 3 of these albums.
Well, that was pretty much the formula we had in mind when we started. It was, we all liked the same kind of music, always did, which is one of the main reasons why I kind of got out of the business for a while, was because I didn't like the direction it was going, and if I couldn't do what I wanted to do, I didn't want to do it. So this was just a great opportunity for me to get back into doing what I enjoy doing, and we decided we would try and stay true to what Accept was, especially in the 80s, and try and incorporate today's technology a little bit. And that's basically what we did, We're just trying to write good songs and make them sound current.
And you know what? You made them sound current by doing it old school, though, because that's exactly what it's just good old-fashioned heavy metal played the way it's supposed to be played, with nothing, not trying to reinvent the wheel. And I applaud you guys for it. So
thanks,
I think it's great. And I great. And so take me back a little bit for the people who don't know, and I obviously do. How did you go from basically getting out of the business, working as an electrician, to playing stadium tours with Accept? How did that all come about?
Because the phone rang one day, and that's basically it, man.
Really?
Were actually, Peter, the bass player, was working on his son's album in Long Branch. And Wolf had come up, the 2 of them were jamming and doing something, this and that. They had tried to get the band back together, and Udo didn't want anything to do with it. And they were kind of spouting off some steam about it, and the engineer, the owner of the studio, Shorefire down in Long Branch, Joey DeMeo, said to him, "Well, why don't you call Mark Tornillo?" And they're like, who's that? Keep Quick. Wow, Keep Quick. That sounds kind of familiar, because we actually opened for them at Lemoore.
Really?
In 85, I guess it was. It was the Balls tour, so
wow.
I guess it was 84. They did a one-off at Lemoore when they were touring with Kiss, and we were the opener. So they had heard the name before, and they'd heard the name from Michael Wagner as well, because he produced, some of their early records, and he did Medal of Honor. So, so basically, long story short, he said, "Well, you know how to get in touch with this guy?" And Joey made a phone call, got in touch with a mutual friend who called me and said, "Can I give your phone number out to Peter Baltus?" And I said, "Peter Baltus? That's the bass player from Accept?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I said, "What does he want?" He goes, "I have no idea." Okay, so I said, "Go ahead, give him the number." He called me, and that was basically it. They said, "You want to come down and jam with us?" And I did. I was sick as a dog. I had bronchitis, but I said, "Screw it, I'm going anyway." And went down, spent the afternoon with them, and another friend of ours playing drums, and we basically just hit it off. We had a good day. We played some old Accept stuff. We actually worked on writing a couple of things, and And it was just fun, but I thought that was going to be the end of it, and that's where it was going to stay. And then about 2 weeks later, I got a call from Peter, and he says, "What would you think about doing a record and a tour?" And I was like, "What?" Yeah. So I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. Let me run that past my wife, and I'll get back to you." And I did.
Honey, I need to take a couple weeks off from the electrician gig. I got a little something going. That's an interesting conversation.
What? Say that again, bro.
I said, that's an interesting conversation. Honey, I need to take a few weeks off from my construction job to go play a couple stadium tours.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, she knew what the score was, man, and she basically said, "Look, if you don't do it, you're going to be one miserable son of a bitch, and you're going to make me miserable, so you better go." So, okay.
Yeah, I tell you, you know what, a guy like yourself with your ability, it would have been a crying shame to not have this, come together. And I want to go back a little bit to TT quick with, you talked about the opener for Accept. With Medal of Honor, which is a truly tremendous metal album, at that point, you guys are, I guess, signed with Megaforce, and you guys are running around, and most of their bands are Metallica, Anthrax, Overkill, so it's all thrash. And the big music at the time was hair bands, for lack of a better term, the Skid Rows and all of those bands. So do you think TT Quick got caught up in kind of the wash of we're not thrash and we're not that and kind of got lost in it because you guys deserved to make a bigger splash than you did?
Yeah, it just wasn't in the cards, man. I mean, one of the biggest things for us was when we were on Megaforce, the first EP came out on Megaforce. The second one, actually with Medal of Honor, was on Island Records.
Okay.
And once we were signed to Island, I mean, we were actually out touring, and they changed presidents. Chris Blackwell, who owned Island Records, hired a new president. He goes, "Why do we have metal bands? So U2 is our bread and butter. What do we need metal bands for?" And that was, boom, we were gone. That was it.
Wow.
Just like that. 6-album deal, down the tubes.
Wow.
And it was just downhill from there. And then Eric's father got cancer, and he was dying, and so he left the band to go home to New Orleans, and it was just never the same after that. We were on a roll, but kind of hit a brick wall, and we made the best of it though. We did 3 more albums after that, and we had a good time. I mean, we were always that band that went out, and all the musicians showed up to watch us play. So. You guys were legends. You guys were legends in the circuit in Jersey. The New York, the Lemoores, and all. You guys were legends. It just seemed like you just came just a little late to the dance. Otherwise, you should have been huge. I mean, you should have been huge. I don't understand it. I think it was great. Well, everything works out in the end, doesn't it?
Right. So so you're bouncing around a few years. You go back to you do the. Let me get the real job, as they say nowadays, like the regular job, and then you get the Accept gig and
join the union. Talking about the regular job.
Yeah, exactly. So now you're in with the Accept. Let me ask you a question. How were you accepted? Because Accept, obviously, the sound of Accept, especially with Udo, is a big part of who they are. When you get out there and you're playing your first couple of gigs. Does the Accept faithful, join right in? Because, it seems like they took to it pretty good, but I'm on the outside looking in.
Well, at that time, it did. What they didn't take to was before, when this first whole started, when they announced that I was going to join the band, I needed a shield. Because on the internet, man, it was just like, no way, this guy sucks. And, it was horrible, man. I just had to turn off the computer. I couldn't watch, And we decided right then and there that, there's only one way to do this. We got to make a killer record. We just have to make a killer record, and that'll shut everybody the hell up. And
you did.
It pretty much got everybody on board, is what it did, And the very first show that we played was in New York. At the Gramercy, and the album was not out yet, but that's my stomping ground, so I wasn't worried there. That was no problem. 3 days later, we were playing in Lithuania, and and I'd never played in Europe before, and that was a little scary, man. I didn't know what. You remember the old Little Rascals where Spanky walks out with the garbage can lid? You know, friends, Romans, and country. And they're right? That's what I was getting ready for, man.
Yeah.
And, it didn't happen. Album, it did not happen because it's all about the music. As long as we play the music and play it properly, it's all people really care about, man. We try to make it sound. I try to make it sound like the records, and that's it. You know, I'll put my own little twist on the old stuff, but basically I try to stay true to the albums.
And everything that I've seen to date, you guys, again, you pay homage to what you guys are, what you guys were, and I think it's tremendous. And I think all bands, and I'm sorry, I don't believe in this, let's reinvent the wheel down the line. You make great metal records, make a great metal, keep making them. And you guys have turned out 3 in the last, 5 or 6 years. It's amazing.
And I would imagine we'll probably continue because we're not getting any younger. So it's not like we're going to sit around and wait for 10 years to make another one, Yeah,
is anything in the works? Are you guys working on new stuff? What's touring? What's coming
up? Well, we're actually, I'm leaving again Wednesday for Europe. So we're going back out on tour again. I just came back from South America. I've been home about a week or 2. And then we'll go back to Europe for the summer, do the festivals. But I would imagine at the end of next year, we're going to start working on a new one. So.
Wow, very, very nice. Again, I'm already pumped because I got to tell you, I love all 3. They wear out. If you can wear out an iPod playing an album, my Accept stuff is wearing out my iPod. It's just great stuff to listen to. But you know what? We talk about the old electrician gig, and people don't realize, and I think it's the fallacy of the whole image of you guy put out an album, or he's been on tour. He's set for life.
They
I talked to
you're a millionaire.
Exactly. All of a sudden you put out an album, you open a show in Germany for AC/DC. You opened up, and then that's it. You're set for life. And meanwhile you're getting off a plane and you're going to do to put up some outlets in the city someplace. It's amazing that is. I think that's the biggest thing in the record industry. The biggest change is over the last 20 or 30 years. It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not like it was 30 years ago when we just had a #1 album in Germany. Blind Rage was #1 on the charts in Germany. It was #1 on the charts in Finland. It was top 10 pretty much all throughout Europe, but definitely top 20. We landed on Billboard on number 60 or something here first week. But it means nothing anymore. It means nothing.
No.
Because for every record you sell, there's a couple of hundred of them that were downloaded illegally. So,
right.
It's a damn shame.
It's not the same anymore. Well, a few months back, Overkill came out and they were the number 28 selling record in the U.S. And I was like, that's pretty good for a thrash band. Yep. It was 5,000 copies. They had sold 5,000 copies.
I know.
To be number 25 or 28. It's terrible. And listen, as myself, I go out. I don't download stuff from iTunes. I go out and buy CDs. There's a place in Woodbridge, Vintage Vinyl. I go there twice a month, and I spend my money because I just feel like you guys out there, right? So you guys go out there and you spend the money, you put it out, and to me, I feel like I should go out and buy it to support it, and that's the way I preach that here.
I wish everybody felt that way, but you know what? The kids are starting to come around. Because,
absolutely.
Now we sell more vinyl than CDs.
That's it.
Vinyl is huge again, and hopefully that continue. You know what? People are tired of buying air. You spend $10 on a download, and your computer crashes, and you have to do it again.
Hey, Mark,
basically you're buying air.
Yeah, I like to buy a CD, or I still buy vinyl. I like to open it up. I like to read the liner notes. I like to look at the pretty pictures. I love it. I think that's what I grew up buying.
So you can clean your pot too. Come on.
I used to get up and take the bus to my local record store, and I would buy the album because that's what I did. So 40 years later, 30 years later, I'm still doing it. And that, to me, that's what it is about supporting what we do and what we love, and what you guys do is what I love. And I think it's a shame that people don't support it the way they should. And I think when people like Rihanna and Taylor Swift are selling, hundreds of thousands of records to 14-year-old girls, unless you're one of them, you can't possibly make any money.
And in this country for sure. I mean, it's so hard to for a metal band in this country to even tour and make any money.
Sure.
It's a damn shame.
It is, and I talked to somebody. Yeah, I talked to the guys, like Ripper Owens and Bumblefoot, and yes, where you playing? I'm in Indonesia. I'm going to be in South America.
Yeah,
when you come into the Jersey area? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, because you can only get a 200-seat venue to book them.
You can't make any money.
Right. Yeah.
I love to see the fans in New York and everywhere, but if you can't make any money, it's kind of pointless.
Agreed. Yeah, if you're making the money on record sales, you say, let's piss away a couple of bucks and play a couple shows for the fans in the right places. But if you can't even make money selling records, you can't give it away touring either.
Well, that's what it was in the 80s. It was tour support. You went out to support the record. Now you go out to support yourself because the record, you don't make any money off the record.
It's the truth, and it's a shame. And I'm a big fan. Like I said, I love what you guys do, and I hope you guys keep doing it for a long time because it's just good stuff. It really is.
I do too, man. We got that old school mentality, man. We're gonna make a record, go out and support it, come back, make another one, go out and support it. I mean, it's our blood, it's what it is.
Yeah.
We only know one way to do it.
I got a couple people harassing me that want to ask you a question. Would you mind if I pick up a couple calls and get a couple questions?
Yeah, sure, bro.
You?
Go ahead.
You're the best, man. Hang on one second. I'm going to go to my stuttering John, my man Giuseppe Dante. Giuseppe, you want to talk to Mark?
Mark, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm all right, but first let me apologize about my friend T-Bone here. I'm sure he's ready to put a dress on you and marry you, listening to the enthusiasm that he has. But I got to admit, there isn't a bigger fan out there than the gentleman you're talking to, talk show personality aside. I do have one question. Did you ever play Studio One in Newark, New Jersey, way back in the day?
Sure.
Okay. I was I believe my band was on one of you did a Friday or a Saturday night. Now, obviously, you remember Pete Tersha.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, now, he was the first booking agent that I had ever dealt with. I played Club Benet and Studio One.
Let's get to it, Giuseppe.
Excuse me?
Let's get to your question, please.
The question was if you ever fucking played Studio One, okay? Take it easy, Opie.
Yeah.
The other question I had was, you were on tour
from what I remember. Not a lot, but at least 2 or 3 times from what I remember.
Yeah, I know you had a huge following back then, and I remember we were one of the bands there was like 4 or 5 bands that we'd play with, and you really made all the other bands look good because you really packed the joint. Now, the question I had was, you toured with Skid Row, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Well, I don't think we ever toured with them. I know we've played with them a couple of times.
You played with them. What was it like to listen to that guy's vocals, man? I mean, I never was that close enough, to be. But this guy is as powerful live as they say they was.
They were a great band back then, man, and they still are a great band. And now they got Tony Harnell in the band. I think they're going to be ass kicking with him. Tony's a great singer.
Now, do you think that he is a suitable replacement for Sebastian?
He's not really replacing Sebastian either.
I don't think you're going to, I don't think anybody's a suitable replacement for Sebastian. But Sebastian is out of the equation for all intents and purposes because they can't make nice. So, it's either I don't know what the story is. I might be talking out of school if I said I did. But Tony is a great singer. He's just, he's a consummate professional. Listen to the guy sing. I mean, he'll nail that stuff.
Yeah, Giuseppe, I had to put Giuseppe back on hold. He was dragging me on a little too long with all of that. I love him to death, but he can definitely drag down a conversation. But, Giuseppe was in a band who toured that area in a band called Savoir Faire. if you've ever heard the name Savoir Faire as far as the band goes. That's where he was headed. He wanted to see in his diva personality. He wanted to see if you've ever heard of his band. So I'll throw it out there.
Yeah, okay.
So,
okay.
So, yeah. So I know that's where he was eventually headed. So I figured I'd just come right to it and just tell you that's where he was headed. But anyway, let's get back to where we were. So right now, you guys are heading out on the road. You're heading into Europe to play again, you said?
Yeah, leaving for Germany Wednesday.
Nice.
And be there for about a month, and then we'll be back a little bit. Then we go back. I mean, we're going to make quite a few trips to Europe this year again. So,
so now
from what I understand,
we'll be. Mm-hmm.
From what I understand is they're trying to put together a tour, a U.S. tour for the fall. So.
Oh wow, that would be huge.
It remains to be seen. I have not seen any dates yet. Well,
that would be huge.
Trying to pull it together. So.
Oh, that's great. Now we here, and I mean to bring this up because I wanted to get you. I always try to bring up this because we're doing a 1-year anniversary for our show, which is coming up in July. In August, we're doing a kind of a benefit for AJ Perro's family. We're kind of party benefit, raise money, and I didn't know it, and I was kind of doing my research, and I saw that AJ was in TT Quick.
He was.
Was that
when I was telling you earlier about when Eric left the band? He went home to New Orleans. AJ took his. That was right when Twisted Sister broke up, and AJ took his place for about a year.
Wow. Yeah, that's again. You know what? It's such a smooth. You know, nowadays people broadcast so many. There's people in bands all over the place, and who's in 5 different projects, and I think that's part of the problem today. You don't know who to root for anymore. It's like free agency in football. You never know who's on your team anymore.
Right.
You know, you kind of root for the jersey.
Everybody's
you stop rooting for the players because you don't know. Exactly. And let me ask you a question. Do you? I know you're not gonna. You're gonna be politically correct, but in my opinion, don't you think that kind of hurts A, the band, B, the players, when 1 minute I look up and Tracy Guns is in Devil City Angels, then he's in Guns, then he's don't you think eventually that's what hurts the industry?
Possibly, but it's the nature of the beast at this point, and people are doing this because you got to keep busy so you can make money. You can't have the same band tour constantly because it just doesn't happen. Luckily for me, I have an ass-kicking job, so I can come home from work.
Good for you. And I think, yeah, like I said, it boggles my mind. I go on all the websites, Metal Sludge, Eddie Trunk, and I watch Eddie, listen to Eddie every week, and I watch his shows, and it's just amazing that you just never know who's where playing in what band. It kind of.
Eddie's got his finger on the pulse. That's for sure. He knows. He knows everybody, and he knows everything that's going on. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's amazing, and in fact, I saw, and I want to bring this up for you. I saw you perform at his 30th anniversary party at the Hard Rock in New York City.
Right.
And I thought you were fantastic. I thought you guys were great. The whole band. I thought it was such a great night. You guys did such a great job there.
It was a fun night, man. We had a really good time. Had a good time playing too.
Oh yeah, I look up on stage and there's Peter Criss and Ace Frehley jamming with Charlie Benanti and Portnoy and you're running around there with what's his name, the bass player, Billy Sheehan and Bumblefoot.
Billy Sheehan and Portnoy, yeah, that was fun, man. Bumblefoot.
That was a great show. You guys did a great job that night.
Yeah, we had a good time. Thanks, man.
No problem, Mark. I'm not going to keep you much longer. I want to say thank you so much for coming on and giving us a half hour. You're a gentleman, and I wish you nothing but success.
No sports?
You got time? I'd love to talk to you. Did I know you're a Met fan, right?
Yeah, I'm a Met fan, bro. So I'm having a decent year so far. But this is what sucks. Now I'm going to go to Europe, and I can't watch the damn games.
Yeah, but with the internet,
I'm going to be watching scores come up on my phone. That's it.
Well, let me ask you a question about your Mets. Do you think that they were the 11 win in a row team, or do you think they're all who they really are now? Which one? Is it just because
I don't know, bro.
Out?
At the end of the day, they're the Mets. So we all know that. We're Mets fans. We wear the hat whether they win or lose, which normally they lose, and you take the abuse. But it's very
absolutely
when they win 11 in a row, They're still in first place, man. So I think they got a decent team this year.
Absolutely. I think I think Wright's the best pitcher in baseball. I'm sorry. Hold on. Harvey's the best pitcher in baseball. Harvey's
good,
the best
man.
pitcher. Oh.
Well, look at Cologne.
Cologne
steps up. He's winning games left and right. So
Yeah, no, I think that their division's a little weak. Give them an opportunity to get out and get ahead of themselves. I just worry is there enough fielding, especially in the middle. I don't like either shortstop. I don't like Murphy at second. Now he's playing third. And so give me the forecast. Your Mets, Wright comes back in a month. Darno comes back in a couple weeks. Where are we in August? Are we in a pennant race?
Well, as of right now, I think so. We'll have to, like I said, they're the Mets. There's always the possibility that they'll shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
And the biggest downfall is they got to stay healthy. That's the problem, because the Mets start doing well and then everybody winds up on the disabled list. So it's
But as a Met fan, do you hold it against the owner? Don't you think that at this point, after the last few years especially, that ownership should have spent a little more money and gotten a little more of a bat than Cadaver and Mayweather Jr.?
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think,
Oh, yeah, I totally agree, bro. I don't think they have it,
That's the problem. Yeah, I agree. I think when you're off season, your biggest acquisition was Michael Cadaver and John Mayweather Jr., who's coming off not even playing full time. He's coming off the bench.
Right.
I mean, you're banking on Duda for another big year. You're banking on, Wright and Granderson to not play like the back of the baseball card. You're expecting them to go back to 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I understand.
I think ownership should have spent a little bit of money, but having said that, they put together a great pitching staff.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. It's looking good. It's a shame we lost Wheeler, but hopefully he'll be back next year and get back to doing it. I mean, the Tommy John surgery worked for Harvey, so you never know.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys now are going to start having that surgery before it's necessary, just to get it out of the way.
Having it.
You might as well. I mean, I tell you the truth, they're 21 years old, you're in the minor leagues. You might as well throw away a season or two in the minors, and instead of getting yourself to 24, 25, and then blowing out the elbow. I'm telling you, it's they're talking about it more and more now.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear that.
What do you
think about that? What do you think about that fight the other night?
We were talking about it earlier, and I stopped watching boxing a long time, but it caught my interest a little bit. I caught a little bit of after it. I watched, and it was just two guys who wanted to collect a big paycheck and then go in the ring and perform a duet in Dancing with the Stars. I was talking about with my brother right before you came on, and I think that's the biggest thing is don't come on after a fight like that and tell me, well, it doesn't matter. I made $180 million.
Yep. Well, now they're starting a class action lawsuit against freaking Pacquiao for his freaking shoulder injury.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy, instead of disclosing it, and you go into the fight basically to say, I'm not going to say anything, so I'll win or lose. Who cares? But I'll get my $100 million paycheck. I think it's what's wrong with boxing.
Yeah, it's a damn shame, bro. Damn shame. Better off watching UFC than that any day.
Well, some people said I'm not a UFC fan, but a lot of people said that, and I think there's something to be said for it. I mean, at least those guys go in the ring and they knock the shit out of each other.
And they beat the shit out of each other. Exactly. Don't stand in the corner and hide.
Right. Well, let me ask you this now. You're obviously a fight fan from way back when.
Oh, yeah.
A year from now, 8 months from now, because now they're saying Pacquiao's going to be out for 8 months with a shoulder surgery. A year from now, they announce a rematch. Are you buying a $100 fight to watch this all over again?
Doubtful. Doubtful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest problem. I think anybody's going to pay. I mean, we go to a concert, we spend $300. Give me a show. I don't care if I spend $300. I go to a baseball game, it costs you $400. No problem. Give me a product. But to go out there and advertise this, and and again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier with you guys.
And and Mayweather's not a stupid guy, man. The guy makes a lot of money. You'd think he'd have more sense than that. You think he would go out there and put on a show that you want to see, so you can do it again, so you can make it again.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to buy that again.
No, again, that's the problem.
Crock.
I think that, to me that's the biggest thing. I'm not going to go out there and pay for something again. I didn't pay for the first time because I didn't believe it, and I was right. But shame on.
He's going to retire, dude. He's probably going to do one more fight so he can get the record, get the hell out.
Yeah. I mean, again, I heard something's going to vacate. He's going to vacate the titles in September and then fight one more. You know what? I just don't have respect for a guy who basically says, "I gave you a bad fight. Here's the bag full of money, and take care." That's what got me out of watching fights in the '90s, and I won't go back now. So.
I hear, man. I hear you.
Well. Again, Mark, you're the best. I appreciate it. Hopefully down the road you guys are coming to the United States. We can check in with you again, and we'll keep up on what you guys are doing. And again, I love what you do.
Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop, bro. I'll let you know when I find out about the U.S. tour. Okay.
Everybody, Mark Tornillo, except Mark. Be safe. Have a great tour, and thank you very much. You're a gentleman.
Hey, man. Take care. Nice talking to everybody out there. Go Mets.
Good luck, Mark. Thanks for calling, buddy.
All right, bro.
All right, man. That was Mark Tornillo from Accept checking in. We're going to take a little bit of a break. And hold on. Yeah, when I come back, I'm going to hopefully have Tony Gunn from Light Up the Sky on the phone. In fact, hold on. I think I see my boy Jeff. I'll pick up my boy Jeff. Jeff, hey, you out there, buddy?
Tom?
What's up, bro?
What are you doing, man?
Just off the phone with Mark Tornillo. I saw you pop up, and I said the second most famous musician so far. I'm gonna pick him up.
Yeah, I pressed the button. I just called in to listen to the show and see what's going on and hear the interview with Tony. But
yeah, Tony's
coming.
Tony's coming
might
up.
as well speak my mind.
Tony's coming. Yeah, good, man. Speak your mind. What's going on, brother?
All right, one, the draft. I think the Jets did pretty good in the draft, but that remains to be seen simply because they're the Jets.
That's
we'll
true.
See what happens there.
Mhm.
And all of the hype about Mariota. I guess we'll see what happens there. I was actually surprised that there wasn't any major trades in the first round.
So was I. Yeah, so was I. I thought for sure that pick would have gotten traded. I got to be honest with you. That completely threw me.
Nah, I think you know what? The only trade I could have seen happening with that would have been maybe either with San Diego for Rivers, but that was about it. I think they knew they needed a quarterback, and they weren't going to trade that away. There's too much hype about this kid Mariota, and I guess everybody wants to see what he's going to do, and they had the chance, and they had no choice but to take him.
Right.
And the rest of the draft, I don't think Winston is going to make I think he's going to make an impact, but I think he's going to be a problem. And I don't think they're going to get the full career out of that guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of either quarterback. I don't pick one or the other. I don't think either quarterback is going to have a great career. I would be surprised if either one did. I think Winston's got the better chance of being better early. Mariota, again, if he'd gone to a better spot, I think, or if they tailor their team to his style, maybe he's got a chance, but I don't see it. So I think eventually those are two busts. But I sitting in the sewing room doing a radio show. So what do I know?
Yeah, I hear that, dude. But now here's my question on which I forgot already. Oh man. Oh, okay. Just came out yesterday. Tom Brady with the deflated balls. What do you think his punishment's going to be?
Here's my problem with it. And again, I'm a Giant fan. I'm not a Patriots fan. I root for the Patriots if the Giants aren't playing. My feeling on it is their answer is he probably did it. Probably did it. Definitely did it. I think you set a bad precedent by giving him any suspension. To be honest with you, I think anything you give him is a bad precedent because you're not saying Tom Brady did this 150%, I'm giving him 2 games. So the next guy who does something that he definitely did, how do you give him 1 or 2 games? So I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain extent. that he should get suspended, but I think in the end they don't give him anything. I'll be honest with you. If he gets anything, it'll be a game. I don't think it'll be more.
No, you know what? If they don't give him something, it's going to look like it's because Goodell is friends with Kraft, and he backed off on any kind of punishment because of their friendship. And I mean, listen, you know, I'm a Jet fan, so I'd like to see them suspend him for 1,000 years. Right. And even then, like, you know, keep him from going into the Hall of Fame. But I guess that's a little bit too much to ask for. But, you know, he should face some kind of penalty because if he doctored the ball, you know, it's a violation, you know. But
Jeff,
what's
I agree
fair,
with you.
I don't know. I don't know.
But again, unless you tell me he definitely, again, the answer from what I read was he probably did it. Again, how do you suspend a guy for probably doing it? That's the only issue I have with it. If they came out tomorrow and gave him a game, they gave him 2 games, they fined him $50,000. Nobody, you know, everybody's going to be happy because it's Tom Brady and the Patriots, and everybody hates Tom Brady, everybody hates the Patriots. But the truth is, if somebody came out and said, "Hey, you know, your player probably smoked pot last year, and we just didn't catch him," would you want him suspended?
Well, of course not, but I think it's two different things. You know, when it comes to these football players smoking weed, I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't impact the game. It doesn't impact the outcome of a
But you're still breaking. But you're still breaking a rule. But you're still breaking a rule. Again, I'm not saying that cheating isn't worse than smoking pot or doing a PED. I'm not. You know, I'm just saying is if you break a rule, you're suspended. If you probably broke a rule, I don't know how you can suspend a guy for it. That's the only thing I would say.
The only here's my thing. They already have a history of cheating. Okay, so they have that against them. Second of all, you know, they did say in the paper when all this came out that every single quarterback did something different to the footballs to make the football more to his liking. So to turn around and say that he took a few pounds of air out of a ball, I mean, is that any worse than I think it was Eli Manning? They said put the balls in the dryer or something to help take the slickness off the ball.
I agree.
So I mean, is it any worse than that? But because of when he did it, if it was a regular season game, maybe nobody would have said anything. But because it was the playoffs, even though it was against the Colts, and they did beat the Colts hands down, maybe that's why it's getting more attention than what it should be. You know what I mean?
It's possible, but you know what? But then the next week, everybody was watching, and he went up and still lit up the scoreboard. So it's really how much impact did it have? I don't know. I'm not sure it did have any impact, but you know, it is what it is. Again, if it was me, I say give him a fine, and you watch it. If you want to slap him on the wrist, you got to suspend him a game. Suspend him for the preseason. Tell him he can't play in the preseason. You know, that would be a huge thing. But I think again they do very well.
I agree with you there. Maybe suspend him until the start of the regular season.
Yeah.
You know, don't let him play in any preseason games or anything else. That I can see because as much as I'm a Jet fan and as much as I hate Brady and Belichick and the rest of the Patriots, knowing that other players did things to suit the ball to their needs, I really don't see what was so bad about, you know, what he did, because other people admitted to doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think in the end that's the bottom line. I mean, and I think again, unless you tell me definitely 100% he did it, you know, there's no doubt in my mind he did it. Hold on, I'm just sending a text out.
Well, listen, I don't mean to rush off, but I know that you got to get in touch with Tony.
Yeah,
he actually got in touch with me earlier asking how to call into the show.
Yeah, so
I don't know if he's listening, but I want to hear what he has to say.
You want to stay on hold?
Yeah, I'll stay on hold, yeah. But that way I can listen.
You got it, brother.
All right, dude.
I'm going to pick up my dad real quick. What's up, Pop?
Hey, Tom. Yeah, I won't hold you long. I was just listening to Jeff, and I find it, first of all, you don't know he did it. I mean, I'm sure Tom Brady didn't go in the bathroom and take the air out. Whether he knew about it, I'm sure he knew about it. You know, if you're going to lose a pound or 2 pounds of air pressure from a football, and make a big deal out of it, and all it's doing is what the newspapers want and the TV want. They want people to get upset to watch TV and to read the newspaper and get all upset about it. You know, you can't prove he did it. It's a probably. What are you going to do? There's not a game, any sport that's not played that is not cheated. Somebody's cheating on it. Whether they're trying to pick up signs, whether they're scuffing a ball, reading signs from,
pine tar on the neck, whatever. There's people doing it every day.
But this is what the newspapers want. They want people to say, "Ooh, he cheated." If that's what lost the game for you, then you guys are in pretty bad shape. That's the way I look at it. And if you have to complain about a pound of air, and it's just foolishness. And what are you going to do? That's fine. I'm not going to hold you on long, Tom. I know you got people waiting for you and everything. I just want to stay with you, okay? Take care and have a good show. I'm enjoying it.
Thanks, Dad.
Take care, buddy.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. Bye. That was my dad checks in every week.
Tommy,
you're on the air. Yo.
It's Tony.
Hey, Tony, I'm sorry you called me. I didn't recognize the number, Tony. I'm sorry. I kept you on hold too long.
No problem. I'm here, Tony G.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you a formal introduction. Now, stand by for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we have on now a Staten Island royalty in the metal world. Okay, we have guitar, virtuoso, Mr. Tony Gunn. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey, Tommy, thanks for having me, man. That's a nice
Tony,
intro.
Thanks for coming on. Hey, listen, you know what? It's well deserved. Tony, you know what? I say that in all sincerity. And I don't mean to make you feel old because you're not, but I remember being about 13 or 14 back in the 80s, getting my way into the back of St. John's Episcopal Church, and during the feast and watching Lady Cadaver just blow the windows off the place.
Those were good times, man. Really good times.
And that was such a great band. You guys were so ahead of your time in that time. I mean, you guys were just such a tight band. It was so much fun to watch you guys play.
When you start bands when you're a young guy, a teenager, whatever, you have dreams. Oh, we're going to play the Garden and things like that nature. So we were trying our best and giving our best, and this is the band that we would want to see if we were at a show. And we tried to put on a show. I mean, spiderwebs, skulls, and dry ice and fire and flames and all of that. Because if I went to a show, that's what I want to see. So.
No, you guys did such a great job. It was, visually, the sound, just the whole thing was just so tight. It was so much fun to see you guys play. I got to see you twice there. I think they snuck me into a show. I don't remember if it was the Intimate, and you guys just did such a great job. It was a lot of fun, and I mean, at that point, you guys were all our heroes. I mean, everybody was just waiting for you guys to break into the Madison Square Garden so we can go. Billy Viola, his voice was amazing. I mean, he's my brother. He's gone. He's not here no more. But he was my brother. I loved him. We all loved him. And his voice was like a gift from God. I mean, it was amazing. He could do anybody. He did Dio, Ozzy, you name it. No, you guys ran the gamut, and it was great. Let me ask you, was there any talk with producers or labels? Did you guys ever get that close to smell the roses?
Well, yeah, in a way, yes. We had some tentative things going on with Atlantic, and I don't know. I don't want to say any names, but people pissed people off, and they said, "See you guys." But it wasn't me.
Listen, it's a tough game. No, I'm sure, Tony, you're one of the nicest guys on the island. I'm sure one of the nicest guys in the business. So I'm sure it wasn't you who pissed anybody off. But I mean, back then it was such great bands. I mean, City, Storm, you guys. I mean, it was such a great flow of bands. It's a shame that we don't see that today. Maybe we do. We just don't know it. But you guys, it was. I don't know. Was it a friendly rivalry then? Was it a friendly rivalry with you guys, all these?
Oh yeah, I used to go see cities. I used to go see cities back in the day, the great clubs like the Factory, the Rock Palace, L'Amour's, and etc. We used to play the same clubs. I'd go and check them out and look up at Steve Maranovich and just say, "Oh my God, this guy's amazing." The whole band was amazing. Sal, everybody, Ronnie, the original drummer, John. I mean, And I used to see Storm, watch Nikki play, and down the road, it's funny because you end up playing with these guys. We used to.
I mean, I saw you play with Light Up the Sky, and Nikki's playing drums, and Sal's playing bass, and it's amazing how over the years, all you guys, at some point either crossed paths or stepped in with each other. And it was like, it's like for me, you go into a show and it's like an all-star band. Growing up, you were the guys that we all looked up to.
Well, I think we're like brothers. I mean, brothers in arms. Even if we didn't play with each other at the time, we come from that time when metal was ruling the world. I mean, now there's no clubs, there's nothing. You got sports bars. Nothing wrong with sports bars, but you can't set up a Marshall Stack there.
Well,
like we used to.
Yeah. Well, and I asked out of all the bands that come on, and I had your daughters on a couple weeks ago. And I talked to your son recently. Again, I'll get to them a little later. And I asked them all the time, is there a circuit of places to play? I mean, I remember as a kid there was, all these different, the Intimate and Snoopy's and this one. There was all sorts of bars that you guys played at kind of routinely, And the big time for the local bands was L'Amour's, I guess. A spot at L'Amour's. There isn't that now, right?
No, nothing. It's like being in the desert. There's nothing there.
And it's funny. I talked to brother-in-law Joe all the time. We got to come up with something, Joe. We got to come up with a one night a month. We got to come up with some sort of place where people like you, bands like yourselves, and we'll get to Light Up the Sky in a minute, but these younger bands or these other bands can come up and have kind of a circuit of places to get their music out to. It's a shame that they don't have what we grew up having. And another one of those with the way it used to be things.
I think that people that have the bars and small clubs, I think they're afraid. They're afraid to open a big club. I don't know why. Maybe they think they're going to lose money. I'll tip my hat to the first guy that opens up a decent-sized club. We'll wait till you see the response that they would get once it gets out.
Yeah.
If there's a decent-sized club, I mean, it would just multiply. Forget about it. I mean, if they would just take the chance. If I hit the lotto, I would buy something and make a huge club. I swear.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I've talked to Joey about this a couple of times, and I would love to get, a monthly place, nice size place where you go in there and every month have a rotation of bands coming in and out, 3-4 bands if possible, 2 bands, and where you can get our crowd, the people playing the songs we love, and have the people who appreciate them come in. I think it would be huge for Staten Island and for Jersey also.
Another thing too, I think the small club owners, like I don't want to name any bars, but they don't really appreciate what these kids are trying to do. There's some good guitar players out there, that have a lot to offer, and there's no venue, and they treat you like
the young kids, and the young kids, but also the veterans. Guys like guys. I mean, Band KILL VAN KULL's coming on after you, yourself, right. Red Room. Spike Club. There's tons of good bands. Guys. We're not old. I don't care what anybody tells me. I'm in my mid-40s, late 40s. I mean, there's a lot of good bands out there, people who can play, and I'd love to, have a place where you say, hey, who's playing at so-and-so next week, and, instead of trying to figure it out. I think it would be, I think it would be huge. I think you're right.
They just got to take the chance. The powers that be, whoever it is, if you're out there, take the chance. Watch what happens. You'll be happy.
I agree. So let's talk a little bit about Light Up the Sky. I've seen you guys play. I've seen a lot of the videos, and you guys are great. I think you do a tremendous job capturing the Van Halen and the sound, your guitar work, right down to the whole bit.
Well, I thank you very much, Tommy. We give our best. I mean, I'm not Eddie Van Halen. He's the man. I'm just like a disciple.
Well, is it a lot of fun? You've done it all. I mean, you've original bands, cover bands. Now a tribute band. Is it fun to do a tribute band, especially if it's a band that you love? It's got to be above and beyond fun, right?
Yeah. Well, like you said, back in the day with all the copy bands back in the day, I've covered everybody. I mean, from Hendrix to Clapton to Sabbath to you name it. I've done it all. And for some reason, after 1978, whenever we covered a Van Halen song, man, something was inside. I just said, this is it. This is what you want to do. You know, if you don't make it big, and we didn't, but you know, if this is, and, you know, actually, a friend of mine, Tommy Walters, who was in a band with me called Disorder, which featured Donnie Tranchina, who runs Rock Show magazine. Great guy.
Yep.
And Joe Gansas was the drummer for that band, just so you know.
Yes, I know. I do know.
He made the suggestion. He said, he pulled me to the side. You know, when we do a couple of Van Halen songs that we do, he says, I see something you light up about it. It's something. I says, yeah, I always loved it. And he put that bug in my head. And when that band fell apart, I says, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do for the first time in my life. I'm going to do just Van Halen because that's what makes me happy. And it really does make me happy. I mean,
and you know what, Tony? It's great. You know what? I love a cover band. I love a great tribute band if you do it right, and you guys do. But let me ask you, you know, if you're going to pick a cover band, you pick the tough one because you're talking about, you know, a guitar god. So let me ask you, how did it? You know, and you don't just cover it; you nail it, you know, note for note. I mean, you really do. Did it take you a long time to get it down that much? I mean, how much effort did it really take? I mean, you're a great guitar player. Did it come easy? Was it like, no big deal, a couple months and you're rolling, or did it take some time?
No, it took time. Before I started getting this thing going, I took about 6 months to at least learn some songs and try and get them right, so that any members, possible members I would get, would hear it and say, wow, all right, maybe we could do something. This guy's doing it right, you know. It wasn't easy. Plus, you know, I'm from old school where we had a vinyl record and you put 2 pennies on the top of it to stop it from skipping. You know, that's how I learned. Today, you go on YouTube and there's a guy giving you a lesson, you know.
It's the truth. It's the truth. You know,
nothing wrong with progress. There's nothing wrong with progress.
You know, and I cheat that way too now. And again, I'm nowhere in the level of you guys, but when I want to learn something, I do it now. But back in the day, you did. You sat there and you moved the record back to one peg and you moved it back and you kept doing it until you got it right.
It was rough.
Right, but you know what? I think it made you guys better guitar players than some of the kids today because it forced you to really learn to play your instrument a little bit more and a little bit more of an ear instead of kind of somebody saying, well, play a 6-string, note 4, 5 times, and that, you know, I think it definitely has weakened. I'm not saying there's not great players today, but it's definitely weakened some of the playing today.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that instant gratification type of thing going on in our country right now. I hate to say it, but everybody wants everything and they want it now. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, sometimes it pays to suffer and work for it a little bit. And then you stand back with a sense of accomplishment. Like, wow, I learned eruption. It took me 10 years to learn it, you know. But now the arthritis.
You learned it on your own.
Yeah, but the arthritis is creeping in and taking like a couple of miles an hour off. But, you know, hey, Les Paul played till he was in his 90s, man. Every Wednesday night he played in the jazz clubs. Les Paul with arthritis and all.
I don't think with music and all, and again, I hope we're never too old to hear Tony Gunn break out Eruption or any classic Van Halen, because to me, it's what keeps us young.
I'll tell you what, Tom, you know what's cool? It's really cool. I mean, I have a day job. I do this for the passion. I'll do it for free. I don't even care about the money.
Right.
You know, if the club owner pays us, that's even better. But
sure.
What gets me is when you see people our age and we're playing Van Halen, and if the band is firing on all cylinders, the faces. I love to see the smiles on people's faces because they're happy. They're hearing something from their youth. I'm sure the guys in Red Rum can relate to that because they play all the good stuff. That's a great band, Red Rum. I love all them guys.
Oh, absolutely. And I give all you guys credit because you're still walking the beat, you're still doing the right thing, and you're still playing it the way it's supposed to be played, old school. And I love it. And I was telling that to a couple of my guests early on. Mark Canillo I had on, and I was, saying the same thing about Accept. If you stay true to what you love and how you do it and don't try to reinvent the wheel, it comes out with even more emotion and more passion. And I think that's when I see you play, when I see your band play, that's the feeling you get.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, I feel guilty having that much fun. I really love it. We don't try to look like Van Halen. You know, we're not him. I'm not Eddie. You know, we don't have Dave and everybody else. Just we play Van Halen for the blind. Put it that way.
That's not true, but that's funny. I want to get to a little bit of Van Halen, but I got to ask you a question. You know that we're doing the tribute for AJ's family, and we're doing the benefit, and we're doing the 1 year anniversary. And as far as Joe's told me, you guys Light Up the Sky have agreed to be part of the event, and I thank you very much for donating your time and your skills and bringing some big name to the show. Let me ask you about
pleasure. It's our pleasure.
No, and again, I want to ask you about your relationship, your time with AJ. Can you give me a little background on you guys were all in the music scene. Did you have a little bit of a relationship with AJ?
Oh yeah, we knew each other. You know, I used to see him play at New York High School, the old high school, and we shook hands. How you doing? I'm Tony. But that's how we met, and we nod and say hello. And I watched him in cities and over the years. And when he made it with Twisted Sister, we were so proud. Local boy makes good. You know, we were so proud of our guy. But what happened was the band was in transition at the time. We needed a new drummer, but we had some commitments. One of them was a benefit which they held every year. Brianna's Dream. It's in DeMatteis Park. It's usually in September.
Rosebank Rocks, know it well.
Yes, sir. And we had a commitment, and hell or high water, I got to do this, man. I can't let people down. If I make a promise, I try and keep it. And I'm scratching my head. I need a drummer. What am I going to do? We got 3 weeks before this show. Anyway, and I'm playing with Sal Italiano. And he says, you know what? I'm going to give AJ a call. He calls up AJ. He tells AJ, with Tony Gunn, we're doing a Van Halen tribute. It's this many songs and whatever. And he said he would love to do it. He loves old school Van Halen. And he practiced with us for 3 practices, and we did the show. He didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? He did not have to do that.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely.
The man was a perfect gentleman, a sweetheart. He donated his time. I just wanted the world to know that he's a Light Up the Sky alumni. He was in this band, and the guy had a big heart. He was a great guy. I mean, it's so sad what has happened. All of us.
It really is, and I think that's why when it happened, I kind of dedicated the show. A bunch of guys called in, they gave their remembrances, and I met AJ 3 times, and nothing more than hello, how you doing, introduced by mutual acquaintances. So I didn't know the guy, and I wanted people like yourself to kind of really tell my audience, tell people in general, here was a guy, local guy from Staten Island, who was just a regular guy, no matter what the fame and fortune or whatever it was just a down-to-earth, straight-up nice guy, and that everybody I talk to says the same thing.
Oh, I got another story about AJ.
Sure.
I coached baseball at East Shore for I don't know how many years. All right, up to 16 years old, and his son happened to be on the 13-year-old team. He was in Europe doing a Twisted Sister tour. The uniform day was a certain day, and the 13-year-old uniforms were going to be given out at such and such a time. He shows up hours in advance, so all that stuff is packed away. It's not out yet. He shows up and he looks at me. He says, Tony, I give him my son's uniform. I says, AJ, it's not here. You got to come back at 1:30. And he started yelling at me. He's like, you know who I am, and blah, 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 and all of that. And I says, AJ, I can't help you right now, bro. You got to leave. Don't make a ruckus. And he left pissed. He was mad. So he comes back at the right time. I was a director at the time for the league.
Okay.
He comes back at the correct time, and he's got his head down. He looks at me, and he goes, Tony, I was out of line. I shouldn't have done that. I'm really sorry. And he shook my hand. And I was like, no problem, AJ. Here's your son's uniform. And I said, no problem. And he was like, I stepped out. I don't know what I was thinking. He apologized like a man. You understand?
Yeah,
like a straight-up guy. And he was straight up guy, man. And then keep that story in mind. My kids at one time were all in the same band. They had another guy on guitar, and the name of the band was Betrayal. It was neo-classical metal. They were really good.
I remember.
They were
it well.
doing.
Saw them at Rosemary Rocks.
You saw them, okay? Then,
I saw them. Great band.
Okay.
Yep.
They were really good. Anyway, they were at a battle of the bands at St. Peter's High School, so I'm helping them move the equipment there. You know, I was like their roadie. You know. And then I says, "Who's the judge?" And they say, "AJ Pero." And I go, "Uh-oh, I got to get out of here." And they go, "Why?" "Well, he might be mad at me from when I tell him about the uniform."
Get a hold of your kid.
Yeah, you know, he could just, you know, get me back, you know. Whatever. So I listened to the show outside. I didn't want AJ to see me at all. I didn't want no influence on his judging.
Yeah, well,
So I wait till the whole show is over, and they announce the winner. And it was he was one of the judges. There was more than one. And my kid's band won the thing, right? And I came inside, and I said, "Let's get this stuff. Let's go. Let's get out of here." I don't want AJ to see me. He might rescind his vote or something. Anyway, he sees me and he goes, "Tony, where were you? I was looking for you all night." He goes, "Your kids are amazing." I said, "AJ, I didn't want my, from the last time with." He goes, "Stop, forget that. Oh man, your son's band was amazing." He was shaking my hand. He was hugging me. He took pictures with my kids. We were honored. You know, it was unbelievable. This is the guy. AJ Pero, man, from Staten Island, rock royalty, right there, bro.
Right, and that's why Joe and I were putting together. We wanted to do something to kind of go along with what we do here, and we thought, what better way to honor the guy by paying tribute to him and kind of making the night revolve around AJ Pero, and then trying to help his family a little bit too. So that's why we're doing what we do, and what
absolutely.
we're going to do.
I hope we get the word out so that the place is packed. You know, we're doing it for nothing. And the money's for them.
Again, listen, Joe and I are coming out of our pocket. You know, we're not asking for anything from anybody. We're just trying to do what we can to do it help. And again, whatever you guys are doing and the other bands, we really appreciate. But before I let you off the hook, I gotta tell you, one, you brought up your kids, and I brought them up earlier. You couldn't be nicer, couldn't be better kids. What you and Diane done to raise those kids is great, but the musicians that you've turned out is beyond amazing. They're all just fantastic musicians. Did you know growing up? Was it like, no problem? Did they take to it right away? Give me a minute on, watching the kids grow up and seeing what they are now.
Put it like this: when my son was 2 years old, me and him did a duet on the piano. His feet didn't even touch the floor, and I knew he had something. And I gave him some basics on guitar, but basically this kid taught himself. That means it's a God-given gift. He's an amazing guitar player. I mean, he's just got to finish his thesis, and he's going to be a music professor. He could teach music in college. He's got all his degrees. It's amazing. And my daughters, they're I never expected it, but
no, really.
I didn't expect them to be interested in music at the time,
and their band is phenomenal. I love what they do. What they're doing, old school hard rock. I love the couple of songs that I've gotten to hear from them. I think they're on the right track of something really good. I love what they do.
It sounds to me, their band Pussy Wolf sounds to me like Black Sabbath meets Jimi Hendrix. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
No. When you hear the opening riff to Creature of the Night, I hear Jimi Hendrix. I told that to Katie and the girls when they called in.
See?
It's right up to the first opening riff. I was like, holy cow. This is not what I expected, because when I saw Betrayal, it was definitely on the thrashier side of the metal, and I'm not the biggest fan of thrash. I listen, but when I heard that, it was such a departure, and it sounded so good. It was kind of like, boom, holy cow, this is great.
As long as they stay the way they are, my opinion anyway, as long as they stay in that vein that they're playing now, that sound, that sound that they have, I think, is what's going to make it for them if they keep at it long enough. Because where do you hear three girls playing like Sabbath?
Absolutely.
And old school Sabbath, and sound like a little Jimmy in there too. I don't know. It's great. I like the combination.
It's a great. They all do a wonderful job, and like I said, your son plays on the opening track, the theme song. I was there tonight. They recorded it. Just phenomenal, all of them, and I thank them. I thank you for all of your help. You know, the whole everybody's been so good to the show and to me and Joe, and I thank you guys so much for that. I really mean that.
Oh, that's great, Tom. That's great, man.
I got one more thing. I'm gonna get you off in a second, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask the biggest Van Halen fan I know. What did you think of the Double Live album? I got to ask. You got to give me a minute and tell me what you really thought of that and the appearances on Ellen and Jimmy Kimmel. Because I'll tell you quickly before you answer, I loved the music on both. I didn't like Dave on Kimmel. I thought even on Ellen he wasn't great, but the music was great. I love the Double Live because it's warts and all. Now you tell me.
What I like about it is that
Absolutely.
it's as if you were there.
Absolutely.
And I've seen Van Halen plenty of times, and it's good. If you're a real Van Halen fan, you're going to appreciate it. You know, you got a lot of fake fans that are going to say, Dave this and Dave that. But guess what? Way back in the day, Dave never sang like the studio. If you want to hear the studio, put the vinyl on. Other than that,
you know what? I bought the '83 U.S. Festival because I wanted to hear and honestly, truly, he sucked. I thought it was okay. The music was great. It was a good concert. It was Van Halen, but I thought he was terrible. And you know what? That's David Lee Roth. He put on a show. He's never been the greatest singer in the whole world. And I love the CD for the one simple fact that it's warts and all, good and bad. They didn't overdub. They didn't make changes. They just said, here's what we recorded. Here it is.
I even heard mistakes from Eddie. Eddie made a couple of boo-boos. I could hear it. I know what he's supposed to be doing. You know,
but who cares?
And,
that's the beauty of a live record.
Guess what? He's allowed. he's the man. He could do whatever he wants in my eyes.
Absolutely. And one last thing I'm going to ask you: is it really Van Halen? Do you love Wolfie, or would you rather see Michael back? That's the last one I'm going to ask you for the night.
I got to look at it like this. Listen, if I was in a band with my son, I don't think I'd kick him out.
Okay.
I mean, I love Michael
Anthony.
I think
he's phenomenal. So do I.
Oh, the kid's got the talent. He's an amazing bass player. He stepped up. He's doing what Michael Anthony used to do, but maybe the singing-wise not as high as Michael Anthony. But that's his father, man. And everyone's saying, kick him out, do this. That's his father. Have a little respect.
Absolutely.
I think the kid's holding his own. He's keeping Van Halen flag flying for the rest of us to appreciate it. And maybe one day, when he steps away on his own, Michael Anthony come back. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he could possibly do. He's already played in another band, so I like it. I'm wanting to get it from the biggest Van Halen fan I know. And Tony, I want to say thank you. You're a true gentleman. You're a good man, and I appreciate you coming on and giving me some time. And it's a lot of fun for me. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you guys on other shows, but specifically on August 29th when we do the anniversary.
You got it, brother.
Tony
Thank
Gunn,
you.
Everybody, the guitar maestro, Tony Gunn.
All right, man. Be good,
Take
Tommy.
care, Tony. Thanks for calling. You got it, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later, man.
All right.
All right, so that was Tony checking out. I thought Vinny was on the line. Maybe he'll call back. I think I lost Vinny. I lost Jeff. I don't know what happened to Vin, but I'll kind of do what I do for the next few minutes until he comes back. It's been a great night so far. We had Mark Tanillo. We had Tony Gunn, who did a great job. Tony called me the other day, and he was a little. Well, I actually didn't call him. There's Vin. I'm gonna bring Vin on. Big Vin, you out there, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, bud?
Vin, sorry, we're running a little late. Let me give you a proper introduction since we're running late. I can't do everything I wanted to do. All my pre-tape stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, on the line now from the band, and they've been around forever. Kill Van Kull. We are lucky to have with us this week drummer extraordinaire, Vinny Raschella. Vin, how are you, sir?
What's going on, Tommy? How are you, buddy? Good, thanks, pal.
Good, man. Thanks for coming on. I built it as Staten Island royalty. I had Mark Ternillo coming on from Accept. I had Tony Gunn from Light the Sky, and now I got Vinny from Kill Van Kull. You can't do a better show. It's
I
three
appreciate
aces.
that, man. I tell you, I was listening to the show. I was enjoying it. You know, as far as Van Halen goes, I was lucky enough to see them open for Sabbath in '78 at the Garden.
Wow.
I was 14. I was 14, bro. It was my second show ever. It was the first show after Kiss, all right, in '77, and those two shows changed my life forever. And Van Halen's not Van Halen without Dave, you know. And as far as the kid goes, I'm trying to justify it, you know, and he was right. It is his son, and it's Van Halen. Right. It's another Van Halen.
Absolutely.
So how could you go wrong? But anyway,
I only saw Van Halen once, and I saw them in '95 with Sammy singing. And as much as I love the idea of Sammy coming on in '85, I never thought it was truly Van Halen. And I thought the show I saw at the Coliseum that night was the worst show I've seen. It was anything but Van Halen. And as much as I'm not a huge Dave fan, it's truly Van Halen when David Lee Roth standing out in front.
Listen, big Hagar fan my whole life, and listen, they were great. They sold more records with him and the whole 9 yards, but still, you know, even like Ozzy said when they got back together in '99, he goes, "There's only one Sabbath, and the four of us are sitting here right now," and I feel the same way with Van Halen.
It's the truth, and you know what? I think I'm going to segue into your band, and I remember the first time I saw your band, I was standing on the bus stop behind the Our Music Center in New York, and there were just literally every utility pole I could see had your band's
Tommy, that was the thing back then. That wasn't just us. That was everybody. Each guy in our band. We lived all over we were strategically all over the island, so we all took spots. I had Tottenville, Princess Bay, you know, all the way to Huguenot, and who had great kills, and who had the North Shore. It was great.
No, it's funny because it was true. It must have been like an inch thick with it just. Who was the last band to go without Howland Boulevard that day was the last band you saw on the pole.
Tommy, I'm snapping a poster outside my church on corner Yetman and Amber Road, and some old lady comes up and looks at it and goes, "Why do y'all want to kill Van Kull for?" I was like, "Oh shit, we don't want to kill nobody, lady. It's a band."
Yeah. But you know what's funny? What was going on out here was what you hear out in LA at the time was the big thing was who could get their posters up on the utility poles at night, down the Sunset Strip, and it was no different here in Staten. We're in Staten Island. It was the same
Tommy,
thing. You guys
we had no internet. There was nothing. How were we getting out there? How were we getting out there?
You know what's funny? Right, but you know that's the funny part because back then you're right. The only way you guys got your name out there was people coming to your shows. Somebody getting a magic marker or some sort of a spray paint and putting it on a building someplace, or putting your names on a pole.
Absolutely.
And yet nowadays, with all the social media there is, it's even harder to get your names out there. It's even harder to get people to pay attention. Why is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with the scene over here. I mean, it seems like it really died down. In the '80s, everything was hopping. We used to bounce to LA a lot, and towards the end of the '80s, and the Strip was still hopping. I mean, Guns N' Roses was fucking. I'm not allowed to say that. Guns N' Roses was kicking. Guns N' Roses was kicking at the time, and the Strip was hopping. And I don't even know what happened out there. I haven't been out there in a while, but I hear it's not as good anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think the music industry it's hard now, and I think it's tougher, and people aren't putting the money out there, the legwork out there. I'll throw my name on a record, and if it sells, it's great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think that's the big problem.
You know what else I think is sad? If you go into Best Buy now with these big stores, the CD section is just dwindling. Everything is just download and boom, goodbye. No more record album covers. You used to say Our Music, man. I used to mow lawns as a little kid, 11 and 12 years old here in Tottenville. Take my money, hop on the bus, run to Our Music, and get my favorite album, and run home.
It's the truth, I mean? And you know what? I still do it. I still get up. There's a mom and pop record store in Woodbridge called My Vintage Vinyl. I go there twice a month, and I buy CDs or vinyl. I'm old school. I think that's the way you should do it. That's how you support the band. And unfortunately, it's a dying breed now.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, we could throw Vintage Vinyl a shout. That's a great store.
Absolutely.
That's one of the last remaining good stores left.
It's the truth. It's one of the few places you can walk into and have that
You'll find
atmosphere,
everything.
that vibe. Of the,
You'll find
Absolutely.
anything there. Anything. Any vinyl,
Well,
any CD, anything. Awesome.
Yep, I love it. We don't have a lot of time, so I want to talk about Kill Van Kull. We talked about you. Give me the history. You guys are back in the '80s. You've been running around. Is same band? Give me the lineup. Give me the changes. Give me where Kill Van Kull is and where it was.
We formed like around in '83. We were a 5-man band. We had some unfortunate incidents in the band. Over the years. We lost Danny Mills to cancer. As a matter of fact, yesterday was his anniversary. Our other guitar player, Scott, became very sick with multiple sclerosis. He's very sick. So we've been going through members over the years, just trying to keep it going. We went through a couple of guitar players in the 90s, Phil Clark, Joe Collies. We had Kirk Avinta, and presently we have Al Anzalone, which is he's a great fit for the band. And we're having a good time. We've been around, like you said, forever. We keep getting knocked down a bit, but we just don't go away.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, you know what? Most bands have trouble lasting 6 months. You guys, for a nucleus of a band, have been around for 30 years. How do you do it?
Tommy, when we got together, I mean, we were kids. We were 17, 18 years old, and we started. We were all in cover bands. When we put this band together, we were like, you know what? Let's see if we can write. And everybody in the band wrote. Everybody. And everybody had different, like Rick, our singer, Aerosmith and Beatles. Me and Billy, bass player, we were introduced by mutual friends as Sabbath freaks. And then you had Scotty, and Scotty was Van Halen and Steve Vai, and then Danny was Hendrix. And you put these guys together, and that's what you got.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's a great form. I saw you guys a few months back, sometime last year. Joey did a thing at Rhythm and Brews, and I was lucky enough to play with the opening band, and you guys came on after, and we stayed around, and I mean, you guys kicked ass. I mean, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 5:30, you guys came out, and you guys kicked the living shit out of the place.
Oh, thanks, bro. Yeah, I remember that. That was nice. You know what? We always do benefits. We will jump on anything for anybody. You know what I mean? That's just what we do. So that was our pleasure.
And you guys did a great job. Now, you're a Staten Island local band. You bounced around. You played some great gigs. But let me ask you this, and I got to ask you, how did you guys wind up on a tribute CD to Tony Iommi playing, and a great job, no less, playing No Stranger to Love? How the hell did you guys wind up on that thing?
Billy's been in contact with a friend of ours, Rosie, in Italy, and they were talking, and through her, she asked Bill, she said, why haven't you submitted a song? You guys are Sabbath fans. How come you haven't submitted a song to this? Bill really wasn't aware of it. So when we looked into it, we're like, you know what? Let's do this. We think for the range of our singer, he's in the Glenn Hughes mode. So we went with a Glenn Hughes tune. On this Iommi record, you hear Dio, Tony Martin, Ozzy, of course. The production was phenomenal. The album is great. I mean, you got to hear these bands on. I'm just floored. And this band is proud to be on this damn thing to begin with. And the proceeds go to cancer. All cancer research.
But you know what? You guys well represented yourselves. You didn't come across as some local cover band. You came across as a fully functional, right on top of their game band, and I think you guys did a great job. And you guys did yourselves proud. You did, everybody proud.
Appreciate that. Listen, and I got to throw a shout out to Henry Falco at Moon Studios. We did Edge of Sunrise with him, and I've done a few projects with him in the past. He gets involved. He gets involved. I mean, when we were doing the album, man, fisticuffs were going. Between the band and him, and bro, it was great. Who was winning this battle, that battle? Who lost that battle? It was good. And it's good to have that. It's good to have that fire because it's passion. And that's what we got out of it.
Yep. Now, unfortunately, we're down to our last 2 minutes. I'm going to make you write out the last 2 minutes when we're going to have some fun. Let me ask you, how much? First off, is there anything you want to promote? You guys get any gigs coming up? Anything you want to throw out there? Put it out there now. I want to get it out to everybody.
Right. You know what it is, Tommy? Right now, things are in the works. I know a Great Adventure for next Fright Fest. They're looking at that. We don't have the exact date on that. There's a couple of gigs at the end of the summer coming up. I just don't have the exact date. Nothing's set in stone yet.
Hey, Vin, no problem. Listen, the show is open to you guys. You want to call in every week, any week. You want to send me a text. You want to send me an email. Anything you want to promote, you got an open forum here. You got an open phone anytime. You don't need to be invited on.
Tommy, I appreciate that. I really do.
And I mean that right now, Kill Van Kull's agreed to be part of the AJ Perro tribute, August the 29th. We appreciate you guys doing that.
Absolutely.
So,
listen. That's our pleasure without a doubt. You know, I mean, we'll do that in a heartbeat. You know, we all love AJ. You know, dearly. You know what I mean? I even had a chance to drive him and Alan White to the airport once. They were going to Ludwig's barbecue, and their flight was delayed like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I'm sitting at the bar. You know, these guys drinking Bloody Marys, and I was listening to just some funny stories. It was pretty cool. So I love AJ, and anything for him and his family, really.
Well, we do appreciate it. We're down to our last 30 seconds. I want to thank everybody who called in tonight. I mean, we got Mark Tornillo from Accept. We had Tony Gunn from Light Up the Sky. We got Vinny Raschella from Kill Van Kull, who couldn't be better, guys. And guys, get out and support the bands. Get out and support the people. Vin, again, the phones are open any week you want to call and just talk sports, talk bullshit. We're all here. We love it. We thank you so much for doing what you do and coming on and doing it here with us. And I can't be more thankful. And I want to thank everybody who was a part of tonight's show.
Thank you, Tommy. And on behalf of Kill Van Kull, thank you. Really appreciate it.
No problem. Everybody, thank you. Have a safe week. We'll see everybody next Thursday night, 6:30, Hard Rock and Sports.
Take care, T.
Big. Thanks a lot, buddy. Holy cow.